Sup? It's Greggatron. I hope everybody out there likes my shirt. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, speaking of my shirt, so I'm sure you guys have heard the news. Akira Toriyama passed away this week. Yeah, this past week. And this video was about him and Dragon Ball Z and what this show meant to me and what it still means to me to this day. So I already know how my mind works, and I know that I can talk about this for a whole hour, but y'all ain't got time for that, right? So I had to take notes. I actually had to put notes down, or else I'll just go off forever, right? Dragon Ball Z. All right, so let's start how it all got started. Me and my family, we were at my uncle's house, my great uncle, and my other uncle. And we were just flipping through the channels, and Cartoon Network was on. But this was a different show from what I've ever seen before. I'm like, what's this? It was Dragon Ball Z. And they were the episodes when Piccolo was fighting Frieza. That was like one of the first episodes I saw. It wasn't the Saiyan saga. Nah. It was Piccolo versus Frieza, right? And I'm like, this is cool. This is different. And I was immediately hooked. And the rest is history. Fast forward, we go back home, and we're like, what was the name of that show we were watching at Uncle So-and-so's house? What's that show? We find it, and it's been love ever since. I mean, I was in 3rd grade, 4th grade. I actually met friends through Dragon Ball Z. Every boy in my class, maybe not every boy, but most of the boys, the cool kids, we were all watching that same stuff. So not only did we develop friendships, we made friendships, period, thanks to that stuff, because you don't know what you're into until y'all get together and start playing. We used to actually make up our own Dragon Ball Z stories at my elementary school. You know how you get nap time, you get play time, you get free time, drawing time, whatever they call it, read aloud. When it was time for free time, we would draw our own Dragon Ball comics. And I might still have them. And it was dope. And another thing, I didn't even write this on my notes, but Dragon Ball Z actually inspired me to draw. Because when I was getting older, I kind of wanted to be an animator. But Dragon Ball Z is what got me into drawing. You know, the eyes that were almost like the Nike symbol, the thick eyebrows, the square jaws, the crazy hair, the musculature. That really got me into drawing, anime, and other cartoons, period. It's incredible. I mean, we would go to our friend's house and play Dragon Ball Z toys and video games. And this is before Tenkaichi came out. We were playing Budokai 2, Budokai 3 at our friend's house. It was really crazy. And this is back when you had to go to somebody's house to play a game. You couldn't just play online. But it was a way for kids to bond with one another as friends. We used to come to school and say, did you see Goku turn Super Saiyan? And everybody's like, yeah, I saw it. And the girls didn't really get it unless they had a brother. And even then, they didn't really care. But it was a real big deal to us. Did you see what happened to Frieza? I mean, We talked about it for hours, man. We used to bring cards. We used to bring cards to school and trade them. Now, I didn't know how to play the game. I can't speak for anybody else. But I didn't even care about the game itself. I just wanted to look at them and collect them and trade them. It's incredible. One time, me and my family went out of town to our friend's house. My mom's friend, her family's house. I promise you, if I tell this story to this day to my buddy, he'll deny it, right? I promise to Almighty, this dude woke up in the morning, because I was sleeping in his room. This dude woke up in the morning saying, Kamehameha. Or rather, he was in his sleep saying it, right? And I'm like halfway awake. I'm like, I know this dude didn't just say Kamehameha in his sleep. Anyway, that morning I told him, hey man, you know you said Kamehameha when you were waking up, right? He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. You said Kamehameha in your sleep. He's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, yeah, you did. I heard it. No, I didn't. But yeah, he did. Me and my brother, we used to try to fuse. You know, the fusion dance? We used to actually try to fuse. Me and my older brother, when we went swimming, we would like play fight underwater, pretending to be them, the DBZ characters. It was so incredible. We would actually have sleepovers, and we would bust the tapes out. Remember the VHS tapes? When the Dragon Ball Z tapes were put together, it created a picture on the side. And every tape had 3 episodes on it. So sometimes different people would bring different tapes over. Okay, I got these. These are the episodes when this happens through this. And then somebody else would say, well, I got this through this. And we would kind of try to put them together so we could navigate from point A to point Z, no pun intended. But Dragon Ball Z really was everything back then. For Marvel, it was Spider-Man and X-Men. For DC, it was Batman and later on Justice League. But anime, it was by far Dragon Ball Z. By far. I mean, I have a cousin. Like I said in my other video, he came to visit. And while he was here in town, he's like, man, let me watch some of that Dragon Ball Z. Because he's much younger. He didn't get a chance to experience it in the way we did. Because I remember when they were little, me and my brother asked them, you guys watch Dragon Ball Z? And my little cousin's like, what's Dragon Ball Z? And we're like, you don't know what Dragon Ball Z is? But check this out. Even as an adult, I'm still talking about this show. You got people rocking the merch. You got kids with backpacks to this day. I mean, you still got different stuff coming out. And y'all know I collect figures, but Dragon Ball Z kind of helped me collect as a kid because we were already getting older, right? But my dad would still get us stuff for Christmas. So we got to a point where we would just hold on to them as collector's items. Okay? And some of those were either DBZ statues or figures that looked like statues. We still have them at my dad's house. Still got them. I mean, let's talk about the gym real quick. I said in my other video, I think about that stuff while I'm training at times. Because it really pushed determination. It wasn't just about good versus evil. It was about working hard. It was about training. It was about, if we don't get this together, we fail. It was pretty much about life. If you don't get your stuff in gear, we lose. So in a sense, it was about winning versus losing too. But even when they lost, that was opportunity to train. There's a line in one of the Batman movies. Alfred says to Bruce, "Why did we fall, Master Wayne? So we can learn how to pick ourselves up." That's what Dragon Ball Z did for me. It's like, okay, the androids whoop their butts. So what we're going to do is we're going to train. They really emphasize training. Outside of X-Men, Dragon Ball Z was the only show, in my opinion, that really emphasized training and fitness. They had the gravity chamber. Vegeta's not my favorite character, but his work ethic, his training, you couldn't touch this man when it came to work ethic. This man's motivation was too strong to be the best. Because Goku was already gifted, but Vegeta had that extra drive, that motivation. And it wasn't just between Goku and Vegeta, it was just they all wanted to be strong so they could protect the world. And when they got together, Piccolo, Trunks, Gohan, Tien, Shinhan, when everybody got together, come on, like you had the world's finest working together. The Z Fighters, you had world's martial arts tournaments. And that's another reason why I think I'm not fat today. Because of those type of shows, Batman, Dragon Ball Z. Because the superheroes, Power Rangers, the heroes that I was watching as a kid, they were fit and healthy and strong. So I couldn't fathom being obese. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't cross my mind. As a kid, I was just too active. But let's say I did want to slack off and eat a bunch of ice cream. Shows like this wouldn't let me because I was always either playing that stuff outside or I was with my brothers pretending I was this guy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like I said, you got clothes in public. One time me and my brother, we were out of town. We went to a mall. And there was a fellow black guy wearing that stuff. And I had, it might have been this shirt, one of these shirts. We get to talking. We talk for probably 10 or 15 minutes. And this was a perfect stranger. And back in the day, some people would call us nerds. Boy, y'all watch that stuff, right? But that stuff got us through the week. It really gave you something to look forward to because it gave you an opportunity to bond with your friends and have friend time that you wouldn't normally have had it not been for that one little connection. We used to make sure we were home at 4:30 or whatever time it came on. The lights were dark. The volume was up. And you were glued to that stuff. Toonami? But back to school, we would come in the next day. It was almost like a club. If you weren't born in the 90s, because I was watching it in like the mid-2000s. But if you weren't around back then, you just don't know. You really, really had to experience it. It is the most talked about anime to this day. It's probably the biggest anime ever. This is before Naruto, before Bleach, before One Piece, before all those other Attack on Titan, before all that. This was the jam. You know what I'm saying? And even when me and my brother talk about other anime, somehow we always go back to Dragon Ball Z. We could be talking about Full Metal Alchemist. We could be talking about Yu Yu Hakusho. And somehow it's always full circle back to DBZ. somehow, some way. I can be talking to a buddy on the phone, right? And somehow it's just a little reference. We're not trying to do it. I'm saying to y'all, that's how engraved this show is in my life. It wasn't just a childhood show, but it transcended through my high school days, after high school, at jobs. Because some people at my job, they know about that stuff. It really is that epic to where I was 9 years old and it transcended all the way till now. That's how special Akira Toriyama is. That's how crazy it is. Rest in peace. Everything from the toys to the tapes to the video games, the DVDs, you had different versions of it remastered. I mean, I got a poster behind me. I was getting my niece on that stuff when she was little. I mean, like I said, if I don't stop now, I'll talk for 20 more minutes. But I'm not going to do that. So, thank you to Akira Toriyama, the good sir, the good gentleman. And the beautiful thing about this is parents who are my age, they can show this to their children. Like, hey, son, this is what I used to watch at your age. And kids love that stuff. It's crazy to me when I see little kids rocking this stuff. I'm like, bro, this is insane. I was playing Budokai 2 and Budokai 3 on PlayStation at my buddy's house. We were busting the tapes out, busting the cards out. And now, one generation later, today's kids are playing that stuff. And they got so many Dragon Ball Z games, I can't keep up with them anymore. I remember Tenkaichi, the split screen, those. Dragon Ball Z sagas, who remembers that? They went up to the Cell saga. I mean, they got so many now, I can't name them all off, but wow. I got figures. I'll show you guys those later throughout the week. And I'm going to show y'all the cards too, but what did Dragon Ball Z mean to you guys? What did Dragon Ball mean to y'all, period? Even if it's the first one, even if it's GT, even if it's Dragon Ball Super. What did this show do for y'all growing up? Because I know y'all watched it. And it was so big that even if you didn't watch it, you still knew what it was. Like, you would ask a girl and she would kind of roll her eyes, but she knew what you were talking about. She knew what it was. She would just say, I don't watch that stuff. But she automatically knew what it was. It was the biggest show ever. I went from probably Power Rangers to Batman, Gargoyle, Spider-Man, Dragon Ball Z. Like, that was the jam. Even if I play with my niece and nephew, we'll be play fighting, I'll still bring back some of those techniques. And they don't even know what I'm doing half the time. You know what I'm saying? This is that crazy. But like I said, I hope you like my shirt. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Peace.